Now, coming back to the quality of sleep,
Mhm.
from your perspective, what are some ways we can enhance that? I know you talked about alcohol, which can affect our rapid eye movement sleep specifically, and then marijuana or has also shown similar effects. But that's just rapid eye movement sleep. But what about the other phases of sleep and how do you enhance all of them? And I think also timing our sleep with our circadian clock. So some of those factors that can help people maximize all of those phases.
Absolutely. Exactly what we were talking about earlier. So many times we know there's like a general number of hours we're supposed to sleep. And I think most
Yep.
people nowadays that I talk to, they're like, yeah, I'm supposed to get 8 hours. And it's in that 7 to 9 hour range.
Yeah.
But then what can happen is we can flatten sleep quality to just sleep duration, which, as
Mhm.
we've already alluded to, there's more to sleep quality and sleep health, if I would use that terminology, compared to just duration alone. And there's a pretty
Mhm.
easy mnemonic that can help you, SATED, SATED. And so S is that satisfaction, what we've already just talked about, that initial a check when you wake up in the morning and you're like, how do I feel? And some things I like to pause for people here is, so depending upon the timing that you wake up and the stage of sleep that you're coming from, you might have what's called sleep inertia, where you have that initial kind of grogginess and you're like, ugh. But then if you actually get out of bed, start moving and start getting your day, then that pretty quickly within minutes should start to improve. So even though you you want to check when you first wake up for the satisfaction, just make sure you're checking into that inertia and not mistaking that for inadequate sleep. And next one is alertness for the A. And so that is if just how your daytime functioning, if you are alert enough to be able to get through everything that you need to do that day, or if you're needing to take some kind of stimulants or medication or what have you to be able to maintain your wakefulness. And then again, another caveat here I talk to people about is that it's normal for people to have a mild dip in the middle of their day. So most people think of it as that post lunch slump. And certainly, probably depending upon your diet, there might be some changes in your blood sugar levels and insulin. And after a diet, that could impact your wakefulness more so compared to other diets. But also, we know that your circadian rhythm is plateauing in that midday point too. So there's a part of it that is just normal due to the timing that you're waking up, that sleep pressure building, and then the timing of the day. And that really gets us back to the next one, T, timing, and what you just said as well, lining up my sleep to make sure that it is in alignment with what my body needs. We
Mhm.
know that our circadian rhythms are genetically determined or have a strong
Yeah.
genetic component to it. And so you'll
Mhm.
hear people talk about being a night owl or being a morning lark. And that's
Mhm.
truly something that is significant with the population. I like to bring it back to, if you think about when we were pre industrial societies and hunter gatherer settings, there really wasn't as distinct of a bedtime and wake time before the need of being in like a manufacturing job or 9 to 5
Mhm.
settings or things like that was determined in the industrial revolution and having to do shift work and things of that nature. But when you
Yes.
compare sociologically to pre-industrial societies, then you find that there is this like natural staging, that there's a certain portion of the population that would go to sleep earlier, some during the middle of the typical time, and some later. As a species, if we just think about it in that perspective, it makes sense if our species doesn't all fall asleep and are vulnerable all at the same time, because then
Mhm.
you could be eaten or something in the middle of the night. So we wanted to be in stages so that way it makes us a little bit easier to watch out for anything that might harm us in the night. And so
Yeah.
that reality is still present in our biology. And yet we don't always think about living into our circadian rhythms and what our body needs. So
Mm.
that T is, you can get the amount of sleep that you need. You might feel satisfied on certain days or things of that nature. But if you're a natural night owl, but you are putting yourself into an environment that requires you to get up earlier and fall asleep earlier, then that could impact your overall total sleep health. E is efficiency. And so that is the percentage of time that you're in bed that you're actually asleep. And this is
Mhm.
one of the most common ways that we're talking about insomnia. So most people who, when we're talking about a clinical diagnosis of insomnia, that's difficulty falling asleep within 30 minutes. And if you're not maintaining your sleep, so if that total time to fall asleep or during nighttime awakenings is more than 30 minutes, then we would still classify you in that insomnia category. That's E. And then D is what we've already talked about, duration. So all of
Mhm.
those things are different kind of pillars of sleep health. And so you can see real easily how if you just flatten it to duration, you're missing all of those other components.
Yeah, yeah.